All right, welcome to the Slow and Steady Sisterhood, where the race set before you is best run at conversational pace. I'm Nikki, and Shayla and Ashley are not here today, but I do have a special guest today, Lauren Wright. She and I are friends. We'll get into that story as we go along in the episode. But Lauren, anything you want to say before we get started? I don't know. This is a random. I just need you to know that this podcast is about randomness
Love it.
and all kinds of craziness.
Oh, also, yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. This is definitely one of the coolest relationship stories that I think I've ever encountered. But I love running as a sport for the type of people you meet and how there's just a camaraderie, especially for those party pacers. There's a special place in my heart and a special, type of connection that you get. So I'm excited to be able to dive into that a little bit today.
Yeah. So, for everyone watching or listening, Lauren and I met at the New York City Marathon. That was our first, that was in 2023, November 2023. And I remember on 5th, we must have been on 5th Avenue because we were really close to the park. And there was a few spectators left on the road, and someone said, we both had our names on our shirts because we needed all that support. And somebody just yells like, "Go Lauren!" And I was like, "Okay, Lauren, we got this." And she looks at me and she's like, "Go Nikki, come on, we got this." And so we entered the park together. So you had to go potty though. So
I did. I have to. That's a trauma story we've tried to suppress a little bit because one of the curses of the slow and steady is for marathons like New York, you start so late in the day that like it is dark. It's dark by that point in time, and so like I don't need to describe to anyone what the terror of going into a pitch black porta potty that has been sitting outside for it could have been 24 hours at that point, getting ready for
well,
the marathon.
let's be real. By the time we started the race at 11:30, because we were in the party wave, that porta potty had already been sitting there for
Yeah.
14 hours.
Correct.
Like,
Correct. Yeah. So and to not like I could smell what was in there, but I couldn't see what was in there. Oh, so yeah,
and once you're
terror.
in the park, you're inside 5K. So we're talking 23 plus miles on your legs, and there's no hovering. There's no
No,
hovering.
no. Zero hovering. Like the debate was really like, do you poop your pants? Like that was more just like I don't remember what I had on. Oh, I do remember. I had on black shorts, so I really had a chance to like super think about that. It's actually funny. So I got inspired to run the New York City Marathon because I have the movie Brittany Runs a Marathon. And in there, they make that joke about how his cousin ran New York City Marathon and then she poops herself.
Yeah.
After the race. And so like I literally thought through all of these things and I was like, I'm not going to be that person. I can't do it. I
Yeah.
want to celebrate after, I had friends in town, my husband was at the end of it. I was like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do our best version of a squat, which you are exactly right. Like there's no real version of a squat. So it was more so like we're gonna pray really hard, hope that this is quick and painless, and then like get out and look for Nikki. I mean, that was kind of exciting too. To just be like, you were a true beacon of light in a like a really complicated way. But yeah.
That was shortly after my mom gave me the power pickle, the jumbo pickle, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I think this is the best tasting thing I've ever had in my life." It wasn't sweet, it was salty, and I've talked about this before. I'm a super salty sweater, and the sweet stuff on the route is horrible. And I feel like my fastest mile was when I was with you, like in the whole race. I had just eaten a pickle. I was like, "We got this," and I'm looking up Fifth Avenue, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's uphill." But I just told this girl we got this, so we gotta go. Like,
That's right.
like we gotta go.
That's
And then
right.
and I didn't realize you went to the porta potty, so I thought you went down somewhere in the park. All the slippery cups.
I could have. I absolutely could have, and in some ways I did go down. That nothing really. It was probably actually worse than slipping on a bunch of wet cups. What I had to experience, but no, I didn't. I was still with you. I just needed a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah. Yeah, the slippery cups were a real challenge. I don't know if people understand what that is in the dark. And all the water cups that didn't get scraped up, and they're all wet, and it's dark, and it's cold because it's November, and you're running downhill because Central Park is really hilly, and really large, and then you have to exit the park after the slippery cups. And then I'm thinking, why didn't we just go around the slippery cups? Why did we go in the park?
The whole thing, and I think that was. So, like, I knew I was going to be in the back of the pack, the party pace, all of that. And, there's a lot of talk about there'll still be people cheering and things like that. But it is definitely a different sort of vibe, right? Like, I definitely think that it's a little bit underappreciated, especially how dark everything is. And it's like, like, a lot of things have been packed up. There is a lot of trash. There is a lot of, like, it's not the same experience. There are definitely, like, phenomenal parts and uplifting of the spirit, and I think they generate a decent amount of energy closer to the finish line still, but like that last section where it's like there's clearly only a couple hundred people at best left in the race in that span, it really is about like whoever you can see immediately in front of you. And it's like it is nice to see a human, right? Like it is one of those times it's like I'm not the last person out here, right?
Yeah, correct. I think we beat like 3,000 people. So
we did. No, we did okay. We did okay.
We beat like 3,000 people, and we finished. It was my first one, and I was so undertrained for that. I was coaching volleyball, and in the middle of the season, our head coach, for some personal reasons, had to step away, and so then I became the head coach, and so it was just this whole, now I have to train for this marathon, and I didn't know what I was doing to begin with, and I remember I got on the Just Jeffing It site. One of my friends had added me to the Just Jeffing It Facebook group. And I was just like, I had all these questions because it was all new to me. Running was new to me, actually, because before that, at different times in my life, I had tried to become a runner. But I just thought, we had gone through a lot of stuff as a family. And at that point, I was just like, well, let me sign up for this marathon because then I'll be forced to take care of myself. Well, stupid me, that not the reason to sign up for a marathon, but my longest training run was 18 miles, and I was only doing weekend runs because the mornings I didn't at that point. Now I go to Orange Theory so I can get those dark morning runs when the sun starts setting, so I can get on the tread. But I was so terrified that I wasn't even gonna finish, and to have those back of the packers, and we weren't even part. I will say this: we weren't even part of the final finishers party.
No, we weren't legit back. It was Yeah,
there's a legit final finishers party, which I considered coming back for, but I had already gotten to my hotel, and there was not much more movement after that.
Yeah. No, it's funny that I don't know we ever talked about this, but yes, we were similarly undertrained. So I was not planning to run New York because I didn't get in from the lottery. But I ended up just applying like on a whim to run with Runner's World magazine. So they were hosting one of their like cohorts. And I think that maybe we found out maybe like 18 or 16 weeks out, like it was not, these were like serious runner people who also applied for this program. And I was like, I'm coming in here like, I had done 2 marathons before, but like I had trained over a year the previous times, and so this was like, oh, that's not enough time to legitimately train for this race if I get in. But I'm like, it's a contest. Everyone's gonna apply to run with Runner's World, right? Like if I get in, I'm meant to get in, and I'm gonna figure it out. So yeah, no, I ended up in a very similar situation where I probably got up to 18, maybe to 18. I don't even remember, but very similarly, like. I literally, this is not funny, but it's a little bit funny. Like, I drafted up, like, a last will and testament. I kid you not. And I just, like, left it in a drawer with, like, like, my social security number and, like, passwords for things. And I wrote this love note to my husband. just in case. Because I felt so severely undertrained that I was like, oh man, like if this thing legitimately takes me out, like let me leave behind some documentation. So that obviously that was an extreme way to react to the entire thing. But yeah, so I feel you. I definitely feel you. Like, are we going to be in the DNF club here?
Well, and I was running for the American Cancer Society because I didn't get into the lottery, and then I immediately, I don't know, I mean, it was meant to be because I immediately just signed up for the American Cancer Society spot, and then I submitted, and then it was like, there's no takebacks, and I'm going, oh my gosh. I called my mom, and I said, you'll never believe what I just did. And she's like, well, you do a lot of crazy stuff. You know, usually the crazy stuff I do starts with, I was on Facebook Marketplace, and but this was just different. And so for me, I was wearing that shirt. The shirt that had my name on it had 26 names on it for people, like on the sleeves, for people who had been through cancer. They had either, you know, they passed away, or they were going through a battle, or they had beaten it, you know. And so at one point, you know, you get to that 18-mile when you come off the Queensboro Bridge, get to 18 miles, and you see the huge video board of the finish line. And I'm going, okay, that's going to be me. And I look at my sleeve, and I'm like, I got all these people left to honor. And I remember my mom, there was one time, they missed me, because apparently I was going faster than they thought I was going to be, and they stopped for dinner. Maybe they didn't. I don't know how it was, but they missed me, and so the tracker wasn't real accurate. And so they're like, did she quit? Like, did she get on the bus? Because the sweeper bus had gone past them. And my friend Amanda's like, do you think she got on the bus? And my mom's like, there's way too many names on her sleeves for her to get on that bus. And I'm like, if I had not had that on there, I'm sorry. If the sweeper bus had gone past me, regardless of the names, while I was on the Queensboro Bridge, I would have gotten on. That was just... Oh my gosh.
I've got the sweeper bus. The sweeper bus passed me on the Queensboro Bridge, and also like several different times, but I'm no stranger to the sweepers. So this was my third marathon, and every single time the sweepers have accompanied my journey. So like, we know each other, you know. It's like, hey, sweeper people, I appreciate how close you're going to be. Like my first marathon was Disney. They have the people with the balloons, so like they were chasing
the balloon
me,
lady.
and then I had done the Pittsburgh Marathon, and then the bus was literally like parallel to me for the last several miles. So I was like, oh, I expect to see the sweepers, right? Like, it's just like, I know y'all, but we're not having sweeper energy.
Yeah, I remember climbing the Queensboro Bridge thinking to myself, like, there's no talking. Nobody was talking on that bridge. All you can hear is footsteps and heavy breathing. It's mile 16, and it's just it's like a mile climb up this bridge. And the first sweeper had just passed me because I stopped to change my shoes. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to be on the sidewalks the rest of the way. You really didn't, though, after the Queensboro Bridge, because they kept Manhattan open. But it was just, I was climbing there, and before I got to the top of it, I thought, oh, dear God, do not send that sweeper bus, because I don't know if I have the will to stay off of it. And then I got to the top, and then you roll over the top, and it becomes fine, and you don't die. You know, you don't die on the Queensboro Bridge. Anyone who is planning the New York Marathon, you won't die on the Queensboro Bridge. But that was intense.
It's not hilly where you are.
Yes, we have a lot of hills.
Oh, okay.
We have some.
Okay. Yeah, because I felt like, I mean, I don't know if it was because my most recent marathon before that was Pittsburgh, but I was like, there were really no hills in the New York City Marathon. Like, as far as I was concerned, I'm like, people, the hills was like, no. This might be an incline. A hill it is not. So, because, you know, just, you've been to my city now, so. This
was my first marathon, and I had not been a runner.
I got you.
And so I got you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was the only time that was the only time. But back to your Runner's World thing, where I realized, so funny. I don't even know what Facebook group it was. So we went on our way after this New York City Marathon. We both went our separate ways, and we were in a Facebook group together, which I didn't realize. but you posted because were you on the cover of the Runner's World, or there was an
Yeah,
article?
there was an article in the magazine. Yep.
Okay. And you posted it, and then you posted it with your finish time, and I was like, wait, I finished at the same, that was my finish time. And you were like, yes, we entered the park together. I was like, oh my gosh, it's you, Lauren.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So wild, right? So wild.
yes.
That it's like literally brought together by media, by real media. And yeah, that's it's so funny you remember that, because I was like, how was I able to locate her again by just first name? Like, I was like, I know her name was Nikki, I remember following this girl and things like that, but I'm like, how in the world would we have rediscovered each other? But yes, that is it. That
It was
is
that
how we
article.
rediscovered each other. Yep.
So you saying that about the Runner's World made me realize that was that article, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
And then of course me, and I'm in the era that I'm gonna Facebook friend you, and then and then we had the so your so you had signed up, you're doing Chicago this year,
Yes.
and you signed up for the charity, and then I had reached out on Messenger, but you were off of social media for a while, and so you didn't respond to my Messenger, but the day you responded to my Messenger was the day I finished Every Woman's Marathon. And
Okay.
I was sitting in the Airbnb saying to myself, I don't ever want to do this again. I don't think I even want to run again, because it was such a horrible experience. Mostly disappointment for me, because I was so trained up. I had done all the runs. I felt so good. I knew that I could hit. I had signed up for the Chicago lottery, and I knew that like this was going to be a test. I was going to get under the time limit. I was going to stay between the 6 hour and the 6:30 pacers. And I just felt so good doing that through 8 miles, and then the wheels fell off. And I remember at like mile 10 or 12 praying to God, please don't get into the Chicago Marathon. And then I get your message, and your message was, I'm praying for you to get into the Chicago Marathon. And I was like, is this a sign? And it was months since I had sent that message. Months. And that was the day that you decided to message me. And then I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I could probably run another marathon.
We think so. We think so. Yeah. And then us being able to reconnect for the relay, I think that was very cool. Very,
Yes.
very cool to have an
Such a
opportunity.
fun weekend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, let me just tell you. I mean, so this is funny because, again, we hadn't really interacted at all other than with like each other's shirts. So it's like the power of running, that it's like, I like this
Yeah.
person's aura, their spirit. I like the fact that
Yes.
they cheered for me, right? So I will say that, like, I was so startled. I was excited, like, to ask you, for did you want to join a spot on my relay team? But when you were like, I'm in, I was like, there's not going to be any like, I need to, like, let's connect first, let's like meet and chat and all of that. It's like, this woman is phenomenal.
No.
She's like, I'm in, I'm booking the flight, let's do it. And I'm like, love
Yes.
everything about this.
Yes. Well, first of all, I needed the state. And it was better to go with someone that I felt like I knew. Like, we're friends!
Yeah.
And they just show up like we never had a real conversation in person, face to face, other than on Fifth Avenue in New York City. And then
Yeah.
I was like, sure, I'll come. And then you were like, you want to sign up for the Steel Challenge and run the 5K too? Sure, I'll do that.
That's
Like,
right.
whatever. That was a
I
fun
love it.
event.
I love it. I'm so glad you had such a great time. We very rarely do I just casually get a chance to bring in somebody from another state to hop in there, and it's like makes it feel fresh again for the first time, because I've been running Pittsburgh since 2013, so it's like, it's pretty much like the same routine every weekend. So you helped make it a lot more fun, because we could throw in some touristy stuff and all of that, so it kind of
Yes.
elevated the weekend to being an experience again after 13 years.
Yeah, it was super fun. So first of all, why is it that you get to run every race in Pittsburgh? This is a funny story.
I know. So for 2 years, well, let's start at the beginning. So I had applied to be part of what was called P3 runners. I applied one year and I didn't get selected, and then I was like, okay, it's okay. We're gonna do it every year till we get selected. And then I'm gonna screw the years up. So let's just say it was like 2019, something like that. Pre-COVID, I know. But then I got selected for the P3 runners group. And then I got selected in back-to-back years. And so the second year, they decided that they were going to build this group called the Champion Circle, which was going to be 10 runners who got to run all of the races that are sponsored by Pittsburgh Three Rivers in the city for free for the rest of their lives. I don't know really what the energy was behind the idea. I have no idea. But really excited opportunity. So I was one of the 10 folks selected for just perpetual opportunities to run all of these races. And they put on, like at least 5, if not maybe like 8 or 9 races every single year in the city. And I run most, if not all of them. So I'm always, sending out discount codes and encouraging people to join me for the weekend. And it's just a great way to continue my love of the sport. And then you had sent me the text of like, did you know that you were in this video? So the other thing is I essentially have sold my likeness. So I have been on like airport ads and bus, like the bus station ads and big banners and videos and like, so yeah, I'm just like a permanent city of Pittsburgh, see the merch. Ambassador in exchange for a bunch of free registrations, and I can't complain. I've run over 150 organized races, so running is kind of my thing. And as we know, and maybe this is something we can talk about, it doesn't matter if you are fast or slow. Running is an expensive sport. Like, it's one of those things. It's like, it should be free. You just go outside and run wherever. But it's like, no, if you were actually signing up for races and you're putting miles on your shoes and you're all the things, right? If you're running in different climates, even, it can be a very expensive sport. So being able to have the Champion Circle membership, that like the races in my city, the registrations are free. Oh, that's huge. That
Right.
huge. Everyone in the right household is happy to hear that.
So basically, you're a really big deal in the Pittsburgh running world.
Low key, yeah.
I would have died if I'd have come out of the airport and seen your face on one of those advertisements for the Pittsburgh Marathon. They did have a run PGH big balloon display at the airport, and so right by the baggage claim, and so I had this courtesy guy, this guy working courtesy, probably a retired guy that works at the airport, so he can get free flights or something. I was like, "Can you please take my picture?" Like, he's like, "Sure." And he takes it like grown-ups take it now. Like, you really need a teenager to take your photos because they get the best photos. But it was good photos.
Yeah.
But it was a really good event. The Pittsburgh did a good job with that event. They said like 55,000 people crossed the finish line over the weekend or something like that. It was a record.
Yeah, it was a record between the 3. Well, there's more than 3 races. I think there's like 5. There's like 6 races so there's the big ones, right? They have like the 5K and the half marathon and the full marathon, but then they also have the Champions Mile, and then they have a 4-mile race, and they have a kids marathon, and then they have a pup walk. So it's like they're very good about really including everyone in the city, and
yes,
then it's also massive because they have. They started the walkers division for the half marathon. So that's something that has also been nice. That's like from the perspective of being a really good race for all paces, that has really expanded the number of people who can successfully participate too. But yeah, this year several of the races were sold out for the first time. Probably because they knew you were coming.
Probably. So it was state number 9 for me. What state are you on?
Either 16 or 17. I have to check my map.
Okay. So tell me about your journey to the Chicago Marathon.
Sorry.
Is that Brian?
Yes, Brian, and there's a B. There's spraying and running happening. Yeah. Chicago Marathon. Yes, I'm currently training for the Chicago Marathon. I too really took the massive leap of faith. Honestly, I signed up to run with a charity instead of entering the lottery. So I didn't even enter the lottery, right? Like I wasn't, I didn't do it after the fact, because specifically I wanted to run Chicago for an opportunity to fundraise for the March of Dimes. I had a miscarriage back in September of my daughter Lennox, and so I was feeling, I'd always been like a runner for many, many years, but feeling really compelled to combine that passion with a cause that I suddenly had very intense empathy for. And so I just was like, hey, like, no, we're not going to do the lottery. We're going to find a opportunity where the March of Dimes needs fundraisers, and we're going to go for it. We're going to dive right in. So yeah, I was one of maybe like the first like 6 or 7 people in the fundraising group for the marathon, and started right away. And so I've been training, I'm going to get my year of training in for this one, which is good. I've been training for a while. As you know, training is one of those things with a lot of like ebbs and flows, right? So I'm kind of training. I think it gets intense the 26 weeks out. So I'll probably be formal training after next week. But I'm excited. I think that this is going to be, one of the most meaningful races for me. And I have already hit my fundraising goal, which is nice. We're continuing to fundraise because the cause remains phenomenal. But it also, of course, takes some of that pressure off. That at this point, like, it's fun, right? The training for it is fun. There's not that extra, like, we have to get to our final last dollars. But I'm excited to continue to raise more money and support a meaningful cause. And I think that, like, everything from our friendship to this opportunity, right? Like, I just think running is such a holistically uplifting sport that really can contribute to a strong quality of life.
Absolutely. And I always say the best thing about running are the runners. Because the runs don't always feel good. The races are fun to do, but it's not fun if there's not runners there, and you meet people. Every race I've ever been at, I met somebody. And so it's just been one of those things that's just kept my life, really balanced. But also, I've just met people from all different walks of life, from all over the country, all over the world, and they all have stories and they all have their own goals. And it's really, a lot of the people that I've met have really helped me to not be so self-conscious about my pace. Now I don't care that I'm slow. Although I was a little nervous about slowing everybody up in the relay because I didn't know everybody. And so I'm like, can I run last?
Yeah. No, I totally understand. There was no judgment there. There was no judgment there. And I do think that like, so I have several friends who are like record setting fast, right? Because I'm just in the running community, and that's the common thread. But they do not speak about relationships the same way that like you or I do, right? Because I imagine, right? Like if you're running a 7-minute mile, you're not having chit chat at like 14 minutes.
It's not conversational.
Correct. It's not conversational.
It's not conversational.
You are literally going at a non-conversational, like I could win this pace, right? Like a lot of my friends have like legitimately podiumed. It's like you have goals, things like that, right? Like your goal is not just to finish. And exactly what you have said, I think what I can appreciate about running at the pace that I do is like I'm either cheering somebody on who's running for the first time. I'm sharing I use the little gym boss timer. I'm sharing that with somebody who's like, they ask me questions like, what are you doing? It seems like you keep running and then walking, running and then walking. Can I join you? Can I follow you? I just ran an 8-mile race, and I literally had a caravan of people who just joined me because there weren't any pacers, right? Like back where we are, there's no pacers. So like I will be like a de facto pacer for people who, are just trying to finish the race. I think that's exciting, right? I think that sometimes people don't realize like you could be an experienced party pacer, right? Like I think there's a little bit of a stigma of like, if you don't run a certain pace, you're not an experienced runner. And it's like, no, some of us will always run 13 to 15 minutes per mile. And it's like, we actually do know what we're doing, right? Like we do know how to pace ourselves. We know how to have endurance. We know when to stop for water, right? We know how to train, right? There's nothing different from us than the people who are doing this at the front of the pack, actually, other than the fact, and I mean, in some regards, we have more endurance because we're out there for longer, but also
Correct.
we just have a slower pace, right? Like, it's just, we just happen to be running slower, but a lot of the things that we do are exactly the same.
Well, like when I had posted I was a little nervous about posting my time for the New York City Marathon, and I had posted it in maybe the New York Marathon support group or something like that. And there was a guy that he's like, I finished this race in 3 hours and 30 minutes, and what you did was way more impressive than what I did. It was like, I was born fast. You have grit and determination, and there's no way that I could have stayed out there that long because I'm not disciplined enough. And I'm like, apparently what I do is harder than what you do. Like, but, and it's not, we're all going the same distance, but, you know, you see a lot of people, very few people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, you will see people like when they're posting, you see all those social media things, there's so many people that are now social media, I don't want to call them influencers, but what do you call them now? Are they called influencers still?
They're called influencers, yeah.
Okay. Okay, they are called influencers. But they're slower runners. And people will get on there and they're gatekeeping their fitness. And it's like, seriously, just let it go. Somebody is out there doing something, encouraging somebody to get off the couch, and showing the progress and showing that you can do it no matter what your size, no matter what your shape, no matter what your ethnicity, no matter, you know. And people just try to gatekeep that, and I just wonder how many of those people that actually say things like that actually run.
Yeah. Well, many of them do not, and I think that, like, many of them do. I know, like, one of the very common debates, especially with slower influencers, right, is that for, like, basically you're taking spots, right? So, like, because a lot of times they will get sponsored spaces or get to run in a earlier group. I saw a lot of that at, like, New York, and it's like, mind your business. Right, like at the end of the day, it's my race, my pace, your race, your pace, right? Like, it does not have anything to do with you, and it is. I mean, I allow myself to be holistically inspired by both the elites and the fast people, and also the people at the back of the pack. But I will say, in general, I do align more that, like, there is something more inspirational about what the common man can do, because they can actually do it, right? Like, there's something, it's just like the Olympics, right? Like, it's like, yes, Olympians are absolutely impressive. Inspirational might not even be the word, because it's like, you're never going to be inspired to be like Simone Biles in gymnastics, because it's like, it's not actually, it may be inspiring because you're like, she's at the top of her game and she's phenomenal, but it's like, I'm not going to get inspired to start trying to do a cartwheel now because Simone Biles, right? But like, if I see,
I'm 99% sure I can still do a cartwheel, but I'm not going to try.
Listen, don't even try though. Like, the point of the matter being that, like, 99% of people, just falling into the category of, like, the norm, can look at somebody who is running a 15-minute mile and be like, I can get there, right? Like, I see that as a dream. I can actually be inspired by that in the way of, like, inspiration that can lead to action, right? That it's like, if I see someone doing, even now, I'm like, I'm inspired by my friends who can run a 6.5-minute mile in a different sort of way. Not inspired like, I'm gonna get out and try and get my legs to do that, because they're not gonna ever do that. I'm going to get off of the couch by seeing the diversity, by seeing that somebody can finish a marathon at a 15, 16, 17-minute pace. That's inspiring, because that could lead me to actually do something and, like, believe in myself.
Yes. I'm not inspired by anyone who runs an ultra marathon, because that'll never be me. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Like, watching those and seeing what they do in an ultra is so, I wouldn't call it inspiring for me. It's so unbelievable. Like, I'm so unbelievably impressed with someone who will go out and run a 50-mile race, or a 100-mile race, or a 250-mile race. I just can't even wrap my brain around it. It's not something that I could ever or will ever aspire to do.
That's right. That's a good choice of word, right? Like, the difference between impressed and inspired, right? Like, I'm definitely impressed by you. For sure. Yes. Don't get me wrong.
Yes. All right. Anything else? We're running out of time here. We're trying to keep our episodes not super long. I can talk forever. So
I could talk forever too.
so
No,
there's
this
that.
has been great. I don't have anything super additional beneficial to add other than thank you for having me. Thank you for really continuing this relationship, this friendship, and yeah, like we started with, it's just
You'll
been
have to
such
come
a
for an Iowa
phenomenal
race.
reminder. Yeah, I am. Iowa is not one of the states I've run. So while I am not certain of whether I'm at like 16, 17, 18, I am certain I would ever run in Iowa. So
Yes.
maybe I'll join you in Iowa and we'll do another episode.
Yeah, we can do another episode. What is it for people who are thinking about becoming runners? What is one piece of advice that you would give them?
Just do it.
That was our team name. Yeah.
That's why I say it's a phrase. I didn't
know.
get that from anywhere. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, Nike doesn't encourage walkers though. So no, I'm just kidding. I actually, as someone who does a lot of walking because I walk run, I actually thought the Nike ad was hilarious. I laughed when I saw it, but I think the timing was bad with Jeff Galloway had just passed,
Yeah.
and people get triggered by things like that. But all right, yes, just do it.
Just
All
do
right,
it.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
I will see you in Chicago
Yes.
because I will be working a water station,
Love
not
it.
running.
Love it. All right. Well, then we will see you in 5 months, my friend, if not before.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us at the Slow and Steady Sisterhood at gmail.com. The Slow and Steady Sisterhood at gmail.com. Follow us on social media on our Facebook page, The Slow and Steady Sisterhood. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.